I'm calling the meeting to order. I'm calling the meeting to order and it is being recorded. We're going to do the attendance. Can people please introduce themselves as we go down the list? I'm Will Nelson.
Sarah Frost.
I'm Tyler Crook.
Capola Napoleon.
Thank you. Tracy's there. Good morning, Tracy.
Hi.
Emily's not in yet. Oh, Emily
Tracy
is.
Dillon,
Thank you. And Emily?
Hi, I'm
at
Emily Sims.
large, representative.
Okay.
Well,
Dave Buswell.
Dave Buswell.
Okay, Dave.
Where'd
Thank you.
Dave go? Oh, hi, Dave.
And Robin's not in yet. Is that correct? Okay. Moving on to the next section. Additions or questions or changes to the agenda. Does anyone have any comments? Okay, the approval of the meeting notes from February 2022. Do we have any corrections or discussions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the meeting notes?
I motion to
Move to
approve
approve.
February's meeting minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. And
Second.
Tyler seconds. And Dave seconds. Next, reports. The library director report, the outreach portion.
Yes, so really the only update I have for you this evening is what we've been working on for outreach. I have finally connected with the Civic Club, Leah Capps, they're a Civic Club president regarding the food pantry. And she and I are going to connect again in May, and then starting in May, the book bike will go to the food pantry once a month is my plan right now, to offer library services during food distribution hours. And that's Wednesday from 4 to 6. And we'll probably plan on doing that during the nice weather months of May, June, July, August, and September. And that will give us an opportunity to, especially in May, be talking about our upcoming summer reading program. And then during the summer months, of course, not only just offering library services, but also inviting people to come visit the library and come to our summer reading program events. And then just tying up in the fall with no main agenda other than to just provide library services during the food pantry distribution. But about that time is when we start planning for our fall and winter events, such as Trunk or Treat, and the holiday winter stuff that comes in December with the city, and the tree lighting and the light parade, and then our winter celebration. So I won't be able to connect as much during winter months, kind of going forward anyways, because we do a lot of stuff otherwise. And then at the beginning of April, I've connected with Robin, our library board member, who is also the library assistant up at the school district. And she and I are going to meet the first Sunday in April to talk about a few things. One of those is she got permission from Carrie Zimbrick, the superintendent, for me to go ahead and start coming back on site to visit with the students. So that's really exciting. So we're going to kind of powwow and come up with some brainstorming on what that might look like, because I thought ideally I could start maybe in the library where I could offer services or information to all staff, of course, and then also get hopefully the kids excited too about the summer reading program. Now they have one library up there that serves the entire school district, but their library is in the elementary school portion of the library. So some of the things they've been challenged with over the years was kind of that reach to more of the teen population. So I will continue to work with Robin and Richie to come up with ideas on how to continue outreach to them. But I have been in contact. I received an email and sent an email back to the principal up at the high school, Jamie Fluke, and I sent her a list of volunteer opportunities for teens for down here at the library. So hopefully that will be a good connection as far as outreach goes. And then I just received a letter in the mail from the Sheridan High School, and I'm going to reply to that in an email, also inviting Sheridan High School students to come and volunteer and expand our outreach a little bit. And now that we are back open and we're going to be doing the Love Our Library informational program at the end of April, telling people about all the amazing opportunities here. Once I start advertising for that, I'll probably send it up to my contact up at the Delphian School, as well as we had a little bit of success here with volunteers with those students also. So that's just some of the stuff I'm working on. I'm going to the Chamber of Commerce meeting at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll have you all know that's a little too early for me, but it will be to kind of talk about the library and everything we're doing right now, and then to also see what their thoughts would be on the book bike being at some of the chamber related events, such as the Bark Dust Sale that'll be coming up at the end of April. So that's everything I think I managed to cover. Does anybody have any questions? If any of you would like to attend any of said events or outreach, don't hesitate to let me know. So
Thank you, Sarah. Next, Capola on fundraising committee, please.
Hi, everyone. I want to give you a reminder that we have our Love Our Library recruitment program coming up on April 24th at 2 p.m. If you can join us, we'd really appreciate your presence and support for a very riveting presentation from Sarah, Carla, and I. We are getting the fundraising committee back into motion with our first fundraising committee meeting scheduled for May 22nd at 2 p.m. in hopes that we get more folks to sign up at this recruitment program presentation. And other than that, that's all I really have to share for fundraising committee updates. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Yes, Tracy.
Will you send us a reminder?
Sure. Yeah, I will send everyone
Yeah.
a reminder of all
Like
the
May.
dates.
May.
Yeah. I will continue to tell you every library board meeting also.
Be the same.
Yes. So we would love to have any and all of you there because we could really use the support of all of our board members. Thanks so much, guys.
can I add on to that, Kay Pola?
Of course.
I have not had really a chance to talk much more with Kay Pola since we met last, but as part of my meeting with the Civic Club with Leah Capps, and in a big effort to really build that relationship and collaboration with the Civic Club, we extended an invitation to them to also come to that event and try to recruit volunteers from the same pool of people that we are trying to, instead of both of us trying to do our own thing and try to get people to help us out. And she accepted, and she'll be having Civic Club representatives also at that informational meeting to talk about what the Civic Club's doing and ways that people can also help them. And I mean, it's a great relationship in the fact that what works here, we have had volunteers who have been able to come here and then they go to the Civic Club to do food distribution. So hopefully we can tap the same resource and get enough volunteers for both of our programs. So
I'm so happy to hear about the partnership. Very exciting.
High five. Okay, next on our agenda, unfinished business. Tracy,
Yeah.
do you want to discuss your committee recommendation?
Sure. Well, we have coming out of the committee a motion to approve the new charter for the library. And hopefully everyone has had a chance to, look it over and, and hopefully if we get a vote today, deal done. That was my presentation.
Thank you very much. That was perfect. Has
Well,
everybody, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to motion to approve, but go ahead.
Can we have a little discussion before we vote on it?
so we should have.
No!
So since the committee makes the motion and they're a committee of this board, then we just need a second. And once there's a second, then Will can open it up for discussion. And then this is our first like real major formal all the way through the ranks process here. So the committee makes the motion, a second on the table, and then discussion, and then a call for a vote. So once we get a second, then we can open it up for discussion.
Thank you for correcting me. So Capola,
Yes, I motion to approve the library charter.
you mean you second it?
Oh,
The
second.
committee motion.
Okay, I second the motion.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, Tyler, did you have a concern or
I had
an
I had
objection?
one concern, and that is just that the charter specifically says that, or it like, where did it go? I have it up on my screen here.
Okay.
Library board. Oh, it was under partners that it specifies our partners, and I worry that if we ever have to change those partners, we might have to come up with a whole new charter, or at least amend the charter rather than just having the charter sort of say like, we'll work with partners that are chosen through this, sort of basic process. Does that make
That's
sense?
an outstanding concern. I thought that the language had been changed to delete, partners for the exact same reason you're citing.
Do I have the most current one?
So
It's
does
possible that
yours, Tyler, does yours have the school district still on it?
under partners,
Yeah.
it says library partnership and collaboration shall include, but is not limited to the following: Chemeketa Cooperative Regional Library Service, Polk and Yamhill Counties and Member Library. CCRLS contract is reviewed yearly by library director. So no, it doesn't have the school on there.
Okay, the one we had before in draft form had the school, so I just wanted to make sure you didn't have that one. And we intentionally took the school out just as that partnership would be more fluid probably over the years. And we would have to make addendums if for some reason we couldn't reach a memorandum of understanding with the school district. The reason, and we can change this to also take CCRLS out. However, I would just say that this partnership was very beneficial in ensuring that the library was not closed in 2016, because we are under contract with CCRLS and we review that contract on a yearly basis. That if we were to ever become uncontracted with CCRLS, then of course we can, the city could make an addendum to the library board's charter, but I don't know. I feel, and this is just personal as the library director, that would be something that the library board would want to consider and have discussion over and be involved in, should the conversation ever come up that the city wanted the library to not be in contract with CCRLS. So that's where I would see where it would be valuable in keeping it in, so that the library board and the library director know the benefit of this partner and is well versed in what that partnership means for the library.
Well,
Any, go ahead.
we could do a friendly amendment to the motion.
Would
What
you
does that
like to
mean?
To
see-
take into account Tyler's concerns.
Would you like
I
to
mean,
see
you know,
this taken off of the partnership part then? Would you like to eliminate all partners altogether?
oh,
No, but I think what
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
hearing me. Okay. I think listing partners on there has value, or rather not listing them, but saying that the library can partner with people. And this isn't in any way to say that CCRLS is like, not worthy of our acknowledgement or anything like that. Obviously, they've been really good for us, but just as a way of not having to change the charter, should things change in the future, was my only concern. But if everyone's comfortable going through the process of sort of amending the charter, then I think that would probably be reasonable.
Well, and I don't think, just in my discussions with Tracy and Dave and Robin, because one of the things we talked about, and that we will probably do after I have a chance to meet with Robin and Kate Pola in the future, is not addendums, but we would be making memorandums of understandings as far as our other relationships and partnerships go. And we could change this language, now that I'm looking at it, to be more of a, the library board will review library partnerships and collaborations, maybe on a yearly basis, or something that really encourages, I would almost say, the library and the library board to really look at what partnerships it is in, whether they be by contract or memorandums even, if we just want to clearly define that those things are maybe under review on a yearly basis. And then that opens it up too for you guys, if you ever have questions of me or the city manager of what's involved in our contract too, with CCRLS, so that you understand what we're supposed to be doing for our part, and then what CCRLS also does for their part. So we could easily change some of this verbiage if that's something that you guys think we need to do. What do you guys want to do? This is your charter. Like, what do you want to have? What would you as a group collectively would be the library's question? What would your involvement want to be in library partnerships moving forward? So that if a new library board member came in and then they read the charter and they got to the part on library partners, if it was in there, like, what would you want them to have an understanding of as far as their role as a library board member?
That's interesting, because like if we I don't know if we necessarily would want to vote on every single partnership that the library does, Because I'm sure there are tons of things that might be considered partnerships that would be super irritating if everyone had to vote on it. But something as big as like changing from CCRLS to some other thing would be a big choice. I don't know exactly how to word that in a way that would be clear, but or where to draw that line. So to answer your question, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly. I think Dave was raising his hand.
Yeah, I understand what Tyler's saying, but CCRLS is just so integrally a part of what we do here. And I surely, I think, I don't know if a future librarian could make a decision that they wanted to pull out for some reason or another. And I don't think I would want that librarian to have that choice. Maybe it made her job easier or some darn thing. I don't know what it is, but I really don't have a problem with the verbiage as is. I think it can be worked around either way.
Any other comments? Questions?
So I guess the question now is, then would this group, with the library board, like the committee to go back and discuss further the verbiage and language surrounding library partners and come back with a recommendation on moving forward? Or would the would the library board like for Will to go ahead and call for a vote as to leave it as is? And or is there discussion about any other parts of the charter too? Because that's a really good one.
Do we need to motion to vote to make the change?
There would need to be a motion on the table, yes, to change the charter if this group wanted to come up with the verbiage as a collective. If this group wants to kick it back to the committee, then the committee could change the verbiage and then bring it back as a recommendation at the next library board meeting.
Well, okay. A friendly amendment to the proposal could happen now,
Yes. Yes.
so that we don't have to wait.
And then the motion.
And I really respect, Tyler, what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not something that I'm like if we like, I would actually feel pretty good about the charter as it's presented here. That's just my only concern. So it's like I don't want to hold up the charter and have to go through another month of revisions or whatever. So how would we do a friendly amendment?
You just say it's a friendly amendment.
All it does
And you
is
state
change,
state the the terms, and then everyone says yeah, or they don't, and then we go to next month.
Yeah, and it basically is amending the original motion, and then Kaypola could have the opportunity to hold on to her second, or it could open it up to a second to someone else, and then there could be a vote on it.
Okay. So if we did a friendly amendment, it would be something to the effect of, like, we understand that library partners may change in the future, and they'll be changed through a review by the library board and the city council.
Is that, should the
Language
contract
to that effect?
change?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, that just because I need to make sure I clarify it really good in the minutes.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. So I want to get the words as close to how they should be. So addressing that partnerships may change. But then in regards, when you say to the city council, was that in regards to any changes made to the CCRLS contract?
Yeah, I think that's what I would have to say in regards to the CCRLS contract.
I would say if partnerships should change, and I would take that may away.
Well,
May,
Gosh,
to me, makes it, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't want to, I feel like I might be wasting everyone's time, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, I don't know what real benefit having a friendly amendment will even give us. Like, because changing the CCRLS is obviously would be a huge deal for us. And if we were to go to that, if some weird thing happened in the future and we needed to change to a different partnership, then probably amending the charter would be the least of our worries in that regard. Like, maybe we should just leave it as is and just go ahead and vote on it.
Yeah, and if I may, if I can give some context, and again, I guess just reiterate why I put it in here. So in 2016, when the library was facing closure, or the city administration at that time wanted to move to a volunteer ran library, CCRLS, their director at that time, came in and clarified what the contract stated as far as what the library needed to do to remain in CCRLS as a member library. And part of that was meeting the state's guidelines for what a public library was, which was having a staffed position. And then what the consequences of that would be if this library was no longer a member library of CCRLS, and what that process would look like to become reinstated later down the future would be very, very challenging. And maybe the verbiage isn't right, and maybe we do look at it again, because the value I find is to ensure that the library board and the city as a whole, administration and city council, knows the value in this contract, and not ever putting ourselves into a position where we faulted on the contract or came out of the contract based on mainly budgetary reasons, which is what the driving force was back in 2016. Should I not be here with that context in the future, or should any of you board members not be here in the future with that context as well? So that's kind of the again, that why, and that quick storytelling about why I would see value in clarifying that we are under contract, and that this group, the library board, would want to be involved in that conversation piece. Maybe should, for any reason, the library or library director ever said, I don't want to be a part of CCRLS anymore, kind of like Dave was saying, then this group would have that opportunity to step in and recommend otherwise. Okay, very good.
That context actually helps me quite a bit. That's very good. Makes a lot of sense.
So we have a motion on the table from the committee and a second by Capola, and there's been discussion. Would anybody like to make an amendment? And if not, then will you call for a vote on the library charter?
Okay, okay. Does anyone have anything to add? Okay, I'm calling for a vote on this library charter change. All those in favor of aye?
Aye.
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 And did we get Dave?
Aye.
Okay. I think we have a unanimous decision on that. Yes, we do. Thank you very much. I love quorums. Okay, next on the list is the Free Fine Library. Fine Free Library, excuse me. Tyler.
So we had our first meeting of that committee the other week. I have forgotten what day it was on. And basically we just started working on a shared document to start drafting basically our presentation to give to the city council in the next couple months. And I don't know if there's a whole lot to report just yet, but yeah, hopefully we'll have something to start getting some feedback in soon. I want to say by the next meeting, but it might be the one following the next library board meeting. So that's where we're at. Is there any questions or comments or anything for us?
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Next, new business. Resuming in-person or Zoom hybrid meetings in April. Yes, Sarah.
That is for this group to decide. The library is open and mask mandates have come to an end, and we will continue to offer this platform, especially since the updated library charter has information regarding this offering from the library. So, and then plus we are able to record these meetings and share them on our YouTube web page, and it makes accessibility easier for those who maybe would not normally come to the library to attend a meeting, as well for those who would like to just sit in as a public meeting. But this group is definitely welcome to come back on site. I would just ask for the heads up if that is what you would like to do, because then I can start making arrangements to ensure seating is available and set up correctly to allow for video recording, while also allowing for space for this particular group of board members to meet. Yeah, so it's up to you guys. So I just need to know what you need of me on a monthly basis.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll start off with commenting that I am happy with the hybrid at this time during the pandemic. Anyone else?
With my work schedule,
I agree.
Sorry,
I
Tracy.
agree. I've had family members die of COVID, you know, and everyone's acting like it's over. It's not over.
It probably isn't. I agree. Tyler?
Yeah, I agree with that also. But I also think with my work schedule, at least a hybrid is very convenient for me. If not keeping it all on Zoom.
Does anyone want to come to the meeting live?
I would love to.
I would
I
like
would
to
love to. I
come back
love
to
you
live
guys. You
meetings.
know, like I really do.
Yeah.
It would be wonderful to, you know, commiserate with you, but
I like the idea
I
of
got people
hybrid, like
dying.
you can come
I
or
got
not
people
come.
dying.
That's
you know,
fine. Yeah.
like they're talking about COVID being over. It's not over. It's not over.
So Sarah, do we have enough input?
I think so. It sounds like there is some enough interest that maybe what I will do is, knowing that there are other people not currently in the meeting who potentially would like to attend in person as well, I will start arranging to have a small handful of seating available for those who would like to come in person during this time. And then as long as we maintain hybrid, I mean, that allows for accessibility to everybody at this point, as best as we can offer. But that does help me. At least now I know I don't need to set a table for 9 people. So that does help me a lot in my planning for each month. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I just had a quick question, if I may. So the public would not be allowed at our in-person meetings, correct?
They are allowed.
Oh, they are allowed.
Yes,
So even at the library, not just attending through Zoom.
yes.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that seating arrangement would definitely look very, very different. So what I'm picturing in my head and what I now know I need to plan for, there would be separate seating, I would say almost, versus a table where the library board members who chose to come to the library would have seating at, because then we could allow for any public input. And as we move forward in trying to recruit for future volunteers, one of the things I always have to be mindful of is also recruiting for future library board members, because inevitably, and unfortunately, terms come up or people move or all the whatnots. So, and there's really no better way to recruit for that position than in-person library board meetings, so that they are invited to really see what business is discussed at these meetings. And then also, so they have that opportunity to engage also with library board members. Let's see, who did I recruit this year during the pandemic? Was it Tyler, Emily, and Robin? And Robin was by default because I was like, school district, and they were like, someone shall be there. So it was not, I was terrified to have to recruit board members when everything was shut down, and I got lucky, where some of my city counterparts on other committees have not been as lucky in filling their committee positions. So thank you for loving the library, everybody. But yeah, so public, but it will definitely look different. They won't be sitting necessarily within the same space as library
Okay.
board members.
Well, as a fundraising committee chair, you can count on me to be in person to help recruit more members.
Okay, does that about cover the hybrid meetings for now? Okay, next, the operational moratorium to late fines. Sarah Frost, please.
I was talking to Kenna, our city manager, about the amazing work Tyler and his group were undertaking, and really a lot about what that means for our library and why it's so important for our library to move towards a materials fine-free procedure. And she wanted me to know that the city administration, so that's not city council, but from her and her role with the city, she fully supports that move. So in an effort for her to support me so I can support Tyler, so Tyler can work with his group and create this presentation and or information more than anything that supports this movement. She approved an operational moratorium on fines for the remainder of the fiscal year. Carla and I were just talking about how do we reinstitute fines when we've been fine-free for so long because of the pandemic and library doors were closed. And this will definitely help us in our job as well. So as I stated in the email to you, this will give our library board fine-free committee an opportunity to continue and finish their work and collect the necessary data to move forward with their recommendation for the library to be fine-free starting in FY 22-23. This will also allow us to be in line with what our surrounding libraries are currently offering to our shared patrons. Those fine-free libraries include McMinnville Public Library, Dallas Public Library, and Grand Ronde Tribal Library. So I am looking for support from this group and or discussion as to approving that and or shared concerns or discussion.
Do I need, oh, Will's talking.
Go ahead.
As I said,
Whoa.
does someone need to motion that we vote on that?
Oh, no.
Because I would like to motion that we vote on that.
I'll second the motion.
Taylor makes the motion and Capola seconds the motion. Well, I now have a vote on the motion.
Aye.
Everyone in favor of it?
Aye.
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 Keepers, I don't know. Wait, how do I say aye?
Just say aye. Or
You just-
nay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Dave, I missed your voice.
I think we may have lost Dave. I think he may have dropped off. I don't see him. But the motion
Well-
stands as there is a quorum present.
Correct.
Well, thanks, everybody. You just made mine and Carla's life a lot, mostly Carla's, but you made our lives a lot easier for the next several months at least. So.
I have a quick question. Sheridan is not fine-free, is it?
Not that I am aware of, nor has it come up in any discussions amongst CCRLS libraries.
It's 6:44. I have another question concerning the affecting the fine-free library committee I'm on. At one time, I was in agreement to pass the motion, but put a delay on it of 1 year, like we did with the children's fine-free, to find out if we're going to have any major problems. But if we have now this time period that you're talking about here covers half of that. And so it's kind of making me think the delay that I was thinking about asking for, not that it would be accepted, but I was thinking about proposing it. That doesn't seem as necessary at all, that what you're talking about would fulfill that.
Yeah, definitely will. And You know, it's definitely from being a fine-free library during the pandemic for 2 years. I think it will be harder for our patrons almost to understand the return to fines, although we definitely don't mind having those conversations. And Carla has been amazing and actually already having those conversations and sharing that information with our patrons. At this point, knowing what I know and knowing that we need to support our rural patrons and ensure that they are offered the same level of service as they are getting if they do venture to Dallas Public Library or McMinnville Public Library, or even our shared tribal members who maybe live here and will, starting in June, have access to the tribal library. I would worry that patrons would favor going to those libraries knowing that their material would be fine-free over coming to our library. And I feel that that's where the bigger challenge will lie as we try to encourage our rural patrons, our non-resident patrons, to come back to our library.
Thank you. Any public input? Any announcements? Do we have any questions, feedback?
I have a
concerning-
question.
Yes,
I just wrote down 2 different dates for the Love Our Library presentation and the Recruit for Fundraising Days. Are those 2 different days, or can you tell me the dates again?
Sure. The recruitment program will happen on April 24th at 2 p.m. And then we have our first fundraising committee meeting scheduled for May 22nd at 2 p.m.
any other questions or comments? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Capola makes the motion.
I'll second.
Tyler seconds the motion. Meeting adjourned.
I'll stick around if anybody wants me after the meeting, as usual. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next month.